Good morning. It is early. It is very early. This is Facts and Friends. I am your host, Kevin Williams, your Kevinly father. Boy, nobody's awake yet. Hey, everybody who's watching. Delayed, because this is just too early in the morning to be watching. Welcome aboard. This is where we're going to take a look at the Fox and Friends this morning and see what they're talking about and see how things are happening in the other bubble. So we got ourselves a new president. Welcome everybody on Periscope. We got a ton of people watching on Periscope this morning and on Twitter. Don't have anybody watching on YouTube, which is strange, which could mean that YouTube is not working properly. So let me just check into the YouTube, make sure that we're actually... no, we're going through on YouTube. YouTube has been very funny the last couple of days, so it may or may not be cooperating. If you're on the Twitter, say hi in the chat room so that I know that the chat room is functioning, and we'll just get going here. And if nobody can actually see what I'm doing here, that's fine. I want to keep tabs on what's going on the other side anyway. Big news, breaking news, something about the vaccine, but that's not important. Check these out. Bernie stickers, huh? Yeah, I know, you're jealous. Maybe we'll do some kind of giveaway at some point. We're being quiet this morning because it's too early here, and there are people in this household who are very, very likely asleep. I don't want to wake anybody up. So I want to wake you guys up, though. And let's see. Okay, so someone is in the YouTube chat room. Good morning. And we'll get going from there. If you want to chat, if you want your chats to appear over in that little blue window over there, just chat on whatever platform you're using. They will be sent, theoretically, to that little window over there. Let's check in with our friends at Fox and Friends right now.
You know that when you grow up in Kansas. It is the coldest day of the year so far. Right now outside, it is 19 degrees here in New York City. So sit back, relax, pour yourself a big cup of Joe, and enjoy the show.
I don't know if they know they're on a national broadcast. So.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. Let's start with this story about the little people winning. Today, trading app Robinhood is going. So
for those of you outside the United States, 19 degrees Fahrenheit, if you're in Canada or Norway or somewhere and you're using metric, 19 degrees Celsius, 19 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to about t-shirt weather Celsius, but they're cold, you know, Americans.
Going to reopen the GameStop stock after they were restricted on the platform.
All right, Ashley Strohmeyer joins us with more as the app faces lawsuits amidst customer complaints. There's a lot of moving parts to this, Ashley. Best of luck.
There really is.
Oh, so this is interesting stuff here. This is what's been going on is that a bunch of hedge funds, or at least one major hedge fund, they bet against GameStop. So they said, we're going to short it, which means we're going to bet that the stock is going to fall in price. We're going to borrow a bunch of shares and leverage our position against those shares. Stock market talk. Basically, they're hoping that the stock falls. A bunch of people on Reddit were like, well, forget about this. What we can do is we can all start buying, and then they have to buy the stock at the higher price to give the shares back to the broker. That's going to drive the stock up even more, and it's going to spiral out of control. And they announced they were going to do this, and it worked. And now the big deal is that Robinhood, one of the trading apps that lets you trade the stocks back and forth, people who own the stock on Robinhood, they can't sell their stocks. They can't buy more stocks. They can't do it. They've been frozen out of that stocks by Robinhood. But the hedge funds, etc., they're able to keep doing whatever they want to do. So the big guys can keep trading publicly, and the little guys are getting screwed. They invested their money. They made a ton of money, at least in the value of the stock so far. And even at the highest positions, Robinhood's like, that's it. Nobody. This is what the hedge funds have been doing for decades and making billions off of it. This is why the hedge funds managers make so much money. But the little guys? Nope. Oh, no. You can. The hedge funds managers, when they would pull a trade like this off, they would brag about it. Good morning, Deidre. They would brag about it. But the little guys? Sorry, you guys have figured out how the stock market works? We're shutting you down. Which it seems completely insane.
Brian, good morning to you guys. The company said starting today, they plan to allow limited buys of these securities and will monitor and then make adjustments as they see fit. They also tried to clarify what happened yesterday, saying, quote, it was a risk management decision and was not made on the direction of the market makers we route to. This as it was hit with 2 lawsuits last night alleging Robinhood manipulated its platform. However, the CEO of the trading app defended that move. Listen to this.
Yes, let's.
In order to protect the firm and
Oh, I see. So the 17-year-old has something to say about it.
protect our customers, we had to limit buying in these stocks. We did this proactively, and thousands of other securities remain tradable on the platform.
As the lawsuits.
Okay, but that stock isn't. This is how the stock market is open to volatility. That's how it works. These are not preset triggers. And again, you're limiting one group of people, the retail trade, you and me, unless you're a hedge fund manager watching, in which case, hey, let's get together, play some golf. Send your jet over. I'll be happy to get on. I got to do a COVID test first. It's going to be a hassle, but you've been vaccinated already, obviously. But everybody else is able to do it, which is just not you and me. I have the Robinhood app. I haven't purchased anything through the Robinhood app. There's other apps available.
Are filed. The New York AG said her office is reviewing Robinhood's actions. Well, dozens of.
See, any other year, and this guy looks like some sort of terrorist bandit, right? He's got a hoodie and his mask. Like, I don't want Robinhood to know who I am. Yeah, we're what are they? The anonymous. Check out this Guy Fawkes. I'm gonna burn the whole thing down. This year, it's like, oh, he's being safe. I like that. He's outdoors, but he's got his little mask on. Oh, what a strange world we live in right now. Huge news. I'm out of bananas. Second biggest story that I'm sure they'll be covering is the fact that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine they're done with the initial trials, and the producer Joanna, you're West Coast. Go back to sleep. You go to sleep right now. Stephanie, you're also West Coast. Go back to sleep. Guys are up too early. Deidre, you're allowed. You're in Texas, so you guys aren't on metric time yet. So who knows what time it is there?
People were at the New York Stock Exchange Thursday protesting during the.
So the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is 85% effective against severe disease. Only 66% effective against mild or moderate disease. Against mild disease, I don't know. I haven't seen the stats on that yet. So. Should you hold out for the other 2 vaccines, for the mRNA vaccines, and not the Johnson & Johnson? Because there's 2 different technologies. You got your Moderna, and you got your other one. You got the Pfizer. You got those ones, and those are 95% effective against severe disease. 85%, still very good against severe disease. Yes, you should wait until you can get any vaccine. And whatever vaccine that is, even if it's a Johnson & Johnson or whatever, get that vaccine. Because you can get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and then later get one of the other vaccines that might be more effective. But the bottom line is if you have the chance to get protected in any percentage, do it.
Chaos. Hedge fund billionaire Leon Cooperman, however,
yes, I want the mRNA because it's got the higher percentage, and oh yeah, no, absolutely, that's the better one. I'm going for that. At this point, I will take anything. Thank you very much. However, if I get the mRNAs, if I get the Pfizer's or the Moderna, I'm living life. I'm still going to wear a mask to protect everything. You can still get sick. You can still carry the virus and not be sick. You can be asymptomatic and theoretically spread the virus to other people. So you continue with whatever social distancing, masking, etc. You can rest more assured. You've got a lower stress level. But good with Johnson & Johnson, if I'm only 66%, and only is the wrong word. If I'm at the 66% level, that's still fantastic compared to actually contracting the disease and risking the severe and or moderate and or long-term effects. And of course, we don't know the long-term effects. If we do get the disease, are we going to be one of the long haulers? We don't know. But yes, get whatever vaccine they offer to you at any point, basically. And then you can double up later with the other technology if you need to.
lashed out at the situation, saying, quote, "The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting home getting checks from the government." Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy, though, said there needs to be an investigation.
I think it's criminal. I think there.
This guy, huge Trump supporter, interviewed Trump as well, by the way. Like at the White House, they let him do an interview. I don't know if you guys remembered, we covered that.
Has to be an investigation. I think people have to go to jail. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. But I've never been
Trust me, Stephanie, if I could go back sleeps right now, I would be sleeps.
more convinced about market manipulation and the people, the hedge funds, controlling the game than today.
And Portnoy will be joining us on Fox and Friends at 8:45 to discuss his thoughts on this situation with Rob.
I'm sorry. Barstool Sports does a lot of good things. They really are helping out their community in a tremendous way. I do have a lot of admiration for the guy. He's built himself a little empire there, and it's fantastic. But honestly, when he was talking right there, I completely tuned him out. I was like, I got to get the hand cream on. I put it on the dry spots first, then I rub the knuckles together. Should we go back? Should I listen to what he said? Because he's got an interview coming up. She looks a little bit like that one lady. Right, guys? Right? Let's play.
Robinhood and Ainsley, that GameStop stock. I've been having issues with it all morning.
No
It's a tongue twister.
All right. Thank you very much, Ashley. Of course, Dave, who's going to be on the show in about 2.5 hours, he's saying, you know, there needs to be an investigation. People need to go to jail because this Robinhood app, which was the #1 app of the week, by the way, stopped people from selling and buying the stock yesterday. Which essentially stopped all these, you know, could be you, a day trader who's been doing this. It all started on one of these bulletin boards where people were saying, you know what, people are shorting GameStop. It's a good outfit. It sounds like they're going to open more stores. There are new gaming consoles out there. This is actually a great idea. So let's go ahead and do something that Wall Street.
Oh, for the love of God. Marcy, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning where you are. Go sleeps.
Cannot do. Right now, Wall Street is betting against it. So let's bet for it. And so you could have bought, a couple of weeks ago, GameStop stock at $17.
How do you say it's so easy?
It's
a gift.
GameStop. There it is right there on the screen. Stock. You could have bought it at $17. This week, it was at $470. It's up over 1,000%. It is driven by the little guy. But unfortunately, Wall Street is run by the big guys, and they don't like it, says Rush.
Am I about to agree with Rush Limbaugh here? What is going? All right, here we go, guys. The world is upside down. By the way, why is Rush still broadcasting? At the end of last year, we're like, yay, never another Rush Limbaugh show. Here he is.
Actually making it clear to anybody who has the ability to notice that you're not allowed to use the stock market the way they do. You're not allowed to profit. You're not allowed to make the kind of money they do. This GameStop business now makes this something that is understandable beyond the political world. And that is its value. It's not just political anymore. It's not just that you can't.
Wait. Why was the stock market political to begin with? It's dollars and cents. It shouldn't be political. Everybody makes money on the stock market or loses money on the stock market.
Think for yourself on issues and matters.
It's a good point, Marcy. Agreement with Rush is a COVID symptom. I should get vaccinated, even the Johnson & Johnson, before I listen to Rush. But it's tiny exposure. I think it has to be for more than 15 minutes.
Of politics. Everything is rigged in favor of the elites. And this has come along and upset that rigging.
Exactly. The elites.
There's a component here of revenge against Wall Street. And Rush goes on to say that the elites are bent out of shape because average, ordinary users have figured out how to become billionaires, too.
Exactly.
Wall Street doesn't like that. GameStop was really struggling for 6 years. And because of the Amazon.
GameStop. Everyone's going to be making this mistake. I think I made this mistake yesterday. GameStop stock. It is hard to say.
People were buying their games on Amazon. Then the pandemic hit, and people started buying GameStop again, and so it started to come back. And that was a great story for this small little, brick and mortar store. And
it's now worth more than American Airlines.
It's amazing. I heard on Fox and Friends First, there's a child in Texas. His mom gave him for Christmas a few stocks, and then he.
That's insane. That is insane for GameStop to be worth more than an airline. What is it? They
sold it. I think she paid like $6 or $7 for each stock, and then he sold it and got thousands of dollars, like $3,000 or $4,000. So
that's great.
Maybe that'll go toward a college fund.
So a couple of things. I watched the Robin Hood interview on CNBC.
It'll go back into games is where it'll go.
NBC.
Yes.
I'm not even going to pretend. Not many people say, I want stock advice either Charles Payne or Brian Kilmeade. They don't usually put me in the same line. So I'm just going to tell you from the pedestrian point of view what I'm seeing. The truth is, I watched this Robinhood CEO who seems a little overwhelmed at the moment, and he had to evidently draw a line of credit from between $500 million and $600 million from
needed
six
$1 billion bailout last
Wall
night.
Street banks on Thursday, most likely because he needs more cash to cover heightened margin requirements. So he's in trouble. But what I really care about is not that guy. I care about a guy like Daniel Lee, who's 22 years old from Los Angeles. Quote, a lot of regular, hardworking Americans have been putting their money and hoping and praying that they get something out of it during a time when every...
Yeah, this is the dream. This is, hey, how... And what the hedge funds have been doing for years and bragging about it is manipulating the market. Hey, we're going to drive the price of this stock up. Everybody get in now. And so the hedge fund gets in, and the hedge fund is also the funges. It's all too difficult to say, which is why most Americans avoid the stock market having to think about it. It's because it's so difficult to say.
Everyone is struggling. I felt like it was not just betrayal, but completely unethical in so many ways. That's what we'll talk to Dave Portnoy. He does a lot of day trading. He's made millions of dollars on it in 2 hours and 45 minutes, and a lot of experts along the way, because I believe the one thing that happened that I didn't think was possible, Democrats and Republicans are united in the outrage that this is not fair, and there's going to be hell to pay. So that's what I think is key.
Where's the outrage when it comes to censorship, though? The little guy is silenced. The little guy here was trying to be silent.
Yeah, poor Donald Trump, the little guy.
When they wouldn't allow them to buy yesterday.
Yeah, by the way, the little guy, my ads have already been demonetized on this stream. All we've done is talk about the vaccine and the stock market, to which universally almost everyone is outraged at what Robinhood has done, because he's the whole concept of Robinhood is taking from the rich and giving to the poor, right? Right now they've taken from the rich and they're holding on to that, and they've leveraged themselves against that, and they put a put option down on taking from the rich, and at some point, it's not how it goes in Sherwood Forest at all.
Yesterday, but that's changed, and now there's some lawsuits, and several Congress members, Republicans and Democrats, are now saying we're going to investigate.
Hell is freezing over because AOC and Ted Cruz are on the same.
But they don't like each other.
It's true.
Well, I'm just saying, hell is freezing over.
Right, but she tweeted back at him and says, "You tried to murder me, so leave me alone."
The idea is they're on the same page. That something needs to be looked into. Yeah, no kidding. All right, in the beginning, when people were trying to figure out a year ago how to handle this COVID pandemic, Governor Cuomo made a fatal mistake, and we know it's fatal given hindsight. What he suggested was, after people who have been living in nursing homes, after they go into a hospital or after they've had COVID, they can go back to the nursing home. Well, as it turns out, that was just about the dumbest thing you could possibly have done, because
and what the CDC said to do at the time.
Nursing homes were not equipped for it. And now, over the last year, it's been impossible to get numbers how many people actually died because of his decision. Well, yesterday, the Attorney General, a Democrat, Letitia James, issued a report and essentially said that the governor has been in the midst of a cover-up on the number of nursing home deaths. Before the report, the state only reported the number of people who actually died at the nursing home address. That's all. They did not report the number of people who had been at a nursing home, but then got sick and got taken to the hospital and then suddenly died. That was never part of it, but it should have been because they got it at the nursing home. Well, now, instead of the number being Ainsley like 8,500,
it'd be like 11,000. We've known about this for months, right? I don't know. Let's find out what the new number is supposedly going to be.
8,700. It's closer to something like 13,000.
Okay. Yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
They underestimated it by 55%. And
I'm really sorry about that, Deidre. Yeah, the nursing homes were absolutely ravaged. We had, I don't know that you were with us at the time, but producer Joanna, who hopefully is back asleep again, her father got COVID and had it, I think, for 51 days or something insane. Was in the hospital. Then they sent him back to the hospital wing at the nursing home. And he survived COVID and then passed away from cancer. But he was 90, 91 years old, somewhere up there. So he won. And my whole thing is if you hit 80, you've won.
that is despicable.
But still, obviously, I'm not trying to downplay your loss. Terrible. Yeah, so many of us have lost so much this year. It's been a rough year for everyone. And I'm still counting this as part of 2020. So here's the thing. What we've discovered is that 2020, I think we've been blaming the year this whole time. The commonality, like 2020 happened, and then, oh, what? We're not getting enough vaccines. That was this year. In January, we figured out, this vaccine problem is not getting out there. And then we had January 6th of this year, where the Capitol was stormed. We shouldn't be calling it 2020. We should be calling this Trumpty. This is all connected to Trump. This has nothing to do with just a random date on the calendar.
Well, for one example, one facility, so the AG released this report yesterday, and she hesitated to do it because, she's a Democrat and friends with Cuomo, and they've worked together. But she's gotten so much pushback, she decided to investigate, and she called each nursing home or went to each nursing home individually, and she released this 76-page report. One example for you. One facility reported to the Department of Health there were 5 confirmed deaths, 6 presumed deaths as of August 3rd. But the report to the Office of the AG says 27 deaths, 13 hospital deaths. There's a discrepancy here of 29 deaths. In addition to that, her findings show New York undercounted nursing home COVID-19 deaths, as Steve was saying, by as much as 50%. Right. A lack of compliance by nursing homes increased deaths, and insufficient PPE COVID-19 testing put residents at risk. At least.
Yeah, testing. Why didn't we have enough testing? Because, as Trump said, the government is not a shipping clerk.
Stefanik says.
I mean, there's just a series of errors here. But the bottom line is, back then, the CDC was, here's from, I have this saved. This is the CDC recommendations. This is from the Wayback Machine. So this is a capture from the CDC on March 25th. And if we go down, disposition of patients, they are required to go to a if discharged to a long-term care or assisted living facility and transmission-based precautions are still required, they should go to a facility with adequate personal protective equipment, supplies, and an ability to adhere to infection, So as what the CDC was saying, as long as the nursing homes have adequate protection, they can be transferred back to the nursing homes, which is what happened. The trouble is, though, is that the nursing homes didn't have enough testing and personal protective equipment, even though the Trump administration was saying, oh, yeah, we got all kinds, everybody's getting. Look, we sent out 20 million gloves. Trumpty. Or as Marcy says, it's January 50th, 2020.
Massive corruption and a cover-up scandal, and she's demanding documentation.
Right. There's so many things to this story. Number one is the lack of interest from other people because, according to most of the media, Governor Cuomo walks on water. But if you listen to him on a daily basis, you know he's probably one of the worst governors in the country. But the crazy thing is he has no clue how incompetent he actually is.
I'm not a Cuomo guy. I don't know him. I'm not in New York. He seemingly been forthright on most issues. He does what he thinks is in the best interest of his citizens, he followed the CDC guidelines. Now, if it turns out there is some massive cover-up or whatever it is, then absolutely, the guy should go down. I'm all for Governor Newsom right now going down here. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I do not care what your party affiliation is. But he was following the CDC. At the time, it seemed like a good idea.
Because his arrogance won't allow it. He had admitted to 3,820.
Yeah, no, some nursing homes did an adequate job. Some did. But the vast majority could. I mean, my sister's a nurse. You can't get nurse after doctor after intern after janitor at the hospitals. We're explaining we're having to use garbage bags as personal protection equipment. It doesn't work.
29 who died in nursing homes. They find in this study at least 12,500 have died in nursing homes. And the key is, during this time of the pandemic that hasn't happened in over 100 years, people make mistakes. In retrospect, you do a study like 9/11 and you get through it. But when you deny it, when you stop people from studying it, when you block people from looking into it, and when they involve...
We literally just finished a study from the New York AG. That's what we've been talking about all this time. Did Cuomo block this study? Is that what they're... Maybe you guys know something I don't know.
Their parents or their loved ones, that's a huge problem, especially when people bring it up to you and you turn around and say, oh, that's just politics from the right wing, or you try to dismiss.
How old was your dad at the time, Deidre?
Dismiss people like Janice Dean and say, oh, you know, she's just on the Fox network, which has nothing to do with it. Howard Zucker came out with this, looked at this report and had an interesting response. He is the New York State Health Inspector. He said the report is only referring to the count of people who were in nursing homes but transferred to hospitals and later died. They don't suggest that all these people we undercounted nursing home deaths and not hospital deaths, even though they died in hospitals. That does not in any way change the total of deaths, but instead a question of allocating the number of deaths. You know what that is? That's called, I am not going to answer the question. The question is, you had the Javits Center, you had a hospital ship, you had a million options, and you chose to put them back in nursing homes, and people died. This would have been a terrible, tragic story, but if you make a bad decision as a leader, you own up to it. Generals have done that, presidents have done that, premier and prime ministers, but when you...
And when I have heard Cuomo talk about it, it's, yeah, that's what we did, but that's what the CD said that we should do.
Deny it for a year and then blame it on the administration or the CDC, that to me...
Which administration? I'm assuming the Trump administration, because the CDC, yeah, that's... I mean, we just looked at what the CDC said. That's from the Wayback Machine. That's the Internet Archive. That's what the Internet said on that particular day.
Is terrible leadership. And this example, Steve, of the media's lack of interest in this story.
If you take a look at the nightly newses, ABC spent not a second. CBS devoted a big 8 seconds and almost 90 seconds over on NBC.
But on what, was this yesterday? What day are we talking about? Where's the rest of this graphic? Okay.
You know, but here's the thing. That should not surprise us, being here in New York City, because the media...
Was any time spent on... You're comparing apples to oranges here because they're a cable news network. This is all they do is talk about the news 24/7. The nightly newses are 30 minutes long, and there might be other stories going on that day, as there always are.
Media...
Oh, 74 years old. I'm the same age as my dad then, Deidre. I'm so sorry.
Over the last year has...
It's so tough when they have dementia, too.
Been very consistent. They said, essentially, Donald Trump did a really bad job, but Governor Cuomo, whose state underestimated the number of people who died because of nursing home deaths due to COVID, he has been a genius. Do we need to remind you? Well, we got a flashback. Watch.
New York's Andrew Cuomo has become an outspoken voice in this crisis with his blunt and sobering assessments.
You were there for us, and I go, oh, you're smart and you were honest.
You exposed a lot of your own vulnerabilities.
A very buzzed about topic about you is your love life.
You've been commended for your clear and your calm leadership.
Congratulations, Andrew, on your much-deserved Founders Award.
You and your brother Chris tied as the most desirable men in New York.
Is it true that this was the swab that the nurse was actually using? In scale, this was the actual swab that was being used.
I was going to be nice and sweet.
I just want a yes, no.
I mean, the guys are brothers. They're giving each other a hard time because they're brothers. But is that an example? Does one Cuomo brother give the other Cuomo brother favorable news coverage? Yeah, they're brothers. If only we had an example of family members on a news network. Let's go back to Steve Doocy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You can go to the New York Post. You can get the true story, the lead story right now.
And it didn't actually kill more people. We know the number of people who've died in New York. Is this a story? Yeah, absolutely. Have we learned from it? Are we going to send people back to the nursing homes, which didn't have the adequate protection? No, of course not.
In it is Janice Dean talking about how she lost both of her husband's parents to COVID.
Oh my God, Deidre, you've lost so many people. I'm sorry about that. And your brother, wow. Your brother, I missed it in the chat room here. Your brother didn't pass from COVID, did he?
They were nursing home residents. It is a terrible story, and it is shocking to see how little it is being covered in the mainstream media.
Yeah, Janice says she remembers watching that interview with the two brothers, the Cuomo brothers, and she said it was horrible to watch them laughing and joking around and holding up the swab when she was burying her in-laws. And, you know, these are moms and dads. These are brothers and sisters, and people deserve answers. They also want to know answers about when are schools going to open. I mean, the pandemic has hit all of us so hard in many different ways. And you had that dad, we called him the mad dad, because he's speaking out for all of us that want kids back in school, because we're worried about how much they're learning, their lack of learning.
Yeah, Deidre, could have been COVID related with the heart attack. Sorry. Yeah, this is the dad that was yelling about things and saying you need to quit your day jobs. Or get fired from them. I don't know. So are they going to interview him now?
The stats, the science shows that they can go back to school, and some counties are doing it and others are not. And that dad right there was so upset. If you didn't see it, he spoke out at the school board meeting. This is in Loudoun County, which is a county in Virginia. Listen.
Oh, he's in Loud County.
You're a bunch of cowards hiding behind our children as an excuse for keeping schools closed. The garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash.
Oh, they turned the volume down.
Risk their lives every day more than anyone in this school system.
Simply not factual.
Figure it out or get off the podium. Because you know what? There are people like me and a line of other people out there who will gladly take your seat and figure it out. It's not a high bar.
At that point, if I was serving on that board, I'd be like, all right, let's see. Let me get my picture of my wife here. I'm out of here. It's all you, buddy. Go for it.
Raise the freaking bar.
Kids are getting...
I'm not sure what raising the bar has to do with anything.
Damaged. It's not a matter of delay or boredom. It's not a matter of inconvenience. Kids are disappearing from the school system. They're not able to interact. They're not going to get these years back, and the development's going to cost, well...
Right, so open the schools once we have the funding to make them as safe as we possibly can. That funding was available in the HEROES Act. And then again, in the acts that were proposed around December. Instead, we send everybody a little $600 check. But we haven't done what we need to do.
Cost the whole country, let alone those families down the line. So Brandon Michon joined Tucker last night, minus the mask, a little calmer, and talked about what led to that moment.
We've gone for months to the school board meetings, and as parents, you know, our voice wasn't being heard. When I got up there, you know, my blood started boiling a little bit, and as I began speaking, I said, look, I want them to hear me, and I want them to look up and pay attention. If you're not going to lead, this country was built on strong leaders. Take a step to the side. That's okay, and let other people step into that void. Exactly. And if you're not going to get our kids back, make a plan and execute it. And you know what? You may fall a little short, but it's better than no plan at all. Go to your local school board meeting, look it up, see when it is, go and see, write something, you know, phone in, write an email, try to make some change, try to get our kids back in school, because our kids are the most important asset in our life.
Yeah, I would say so. And he said what everybody missed, and I'd love to see that video of his two kids speaking to the school board before he got up there. And he felt like they were totally ignored. They weren't even paying attention to him. That's why he got up there and said, "You got to be kidding me."
And a 7-year-old.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? We got to get that video. They say they did the study. They said, for example, in Hillsborough County, Florida, there are 7,000 kids just missing from the school system. They do not report on Zoom or whatever they have, whether they don't have the equipment or not. They have done a study at Stanford, and they say the average kid has lost a third of a year worth of learning. That's if they show up for school, and 3/4 of a year's worth in math. This is unbelievable what's happening right now.
Yeah, Kevin McCarthy went down to Mar-a-Lago. They released a statement yesterday calling for Republican unity. The same day, by the way, where Matt Gaetz of Florida went to Wyoming to attack the third in power in the House, who is a Republican, Liz Cheney. So we have party unity, and we're going to keep doing this, and Trump is our leader, and everything is great, said the statement. Meanwhile, Rick Gates is up in Wyoming.
Now, it is a 5-alarm fire.
Well, and we have been saying that on this program for months. And we've been talking about how the CDC says, you know, for a lot of these kids, they're actually safer at school. There's a reason that in Chicago, the public schools are all closed because the teachers union won't let them go back to work. But the Catholic schools are all open, and there's not a problem. What his real frustration was, Mr. Michon last night, he said he encouraged other parents to speak up, just so that, you know, because when he was all by himself, the Loudoun County School Board, it was just him and his kids talking about, let's open up the schools again. You know what they need to do? They need to do exactly what the Robin Hood Reddit stock traders did, and that is to organize online. There is power in numbers. Get together online and figure out how to pressure.
March to the schools and just break the windows? This is not what you want to do. They need to fight like hell to open the schools, is what he's about to say.
Your school board into hearing what you have to say. Because, Ainsley, without that, the school board's going to do what the school board wants to do. And it is not necessarily what the people of that county want to do, which is open the schools for their children's benefit.
That's right. All right, we're going to be talking about it all morning. It's 6:19 here on the East Coast. And coming up, Will Cain.
Some of the people do and some of them don't.
Is dishing out some breakfast with his friends in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Friend. There's only one.
Oh, good. A diner. Nothing I like better than, hey, tell me what people who are eating diner food for breakfast think.
They're two.
But honestly, I mean, that's real America, isn't it?
Good morning. Good morning. There will be a lot of friends here.
Good morning. Good muffins, too.
This morning, Brian. Don't you take an easy shot at me. We are in Knoxville.
Okay, shh. We can't. We can't listen to this. Hold on. Because there's music, so I can't listen to it. Let's see. Oh, but what about the diner guy? We're just going to skip the diner guy? Hold on. Got to get past the MyPillow ads. Let's see who this is.
Suddenly, out of nowhere, Robin Hood stops all that. See? Well, the roller coaster week on Wall Street is not expected to slow down today with the stock market app Robinhood reopening limited trading.
I made a nice salad for dinner yesterday. It was actually one of my best. Making a big yellow salad bowl. You guys have seen it. But oh my God, give me some, you know what they call Jell-O in the diners? If anybody knows, put it in the chat room. It's my favorite diner food. But some good stuff on a shingle. I won't say the swear word because I've already asked us to be reviewed for monetization today. We've already been demonetized by YouTube because they're against conservatives like me. Totally forgot what I was talking about because I'm thinking about food. Oh, we were talking about food. I'm a genius. So I had myself this nice salad for dinner because, you know, trying to stay healthy, etc. But then I had an avocado that needs to be eaten, so I had to make nachos. They were good nachos, loaded up with some onions. Nothing better than cheese and onions. I'll tell you that right now. I have always thought in the back of my mind, cheese and onions. CHEESEANDONOIS, cheese and onions. If you don't know the song Cheese and Onions, you need to look up the Ruddles.
For companies like GameStop and AMC. This after the company was hit with lawsuits and accused of market manipulation after blocking users from buying stock yesterday. Here to help break it all down is managing partner at Benchmark Investments, Kevin Kelly, who joins us from the West Coast. Kevin, good morning to you.
Morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
Okay, so people are so steamed about this story because the little guys are just sitting at their home desks. They're doing some day trading, and they're playing by the rules. But suddenly, out of nowhere, Robinhood stops all activity yesterday, and people are going, they're screwing the little guy, and they're helping Wall Street.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like, because not only did they say you couldn't trade or buy certain stocks, they said they may go in the direction where they actually may unwind some of your trades in those stocks. So that's what really, I think, scared people, is not only, could you not buy these stocks, which seemed like an arbitrary amount of stocks. It was not only GameStop, but Nokia, right? Nokia is going to capitalize on the coming 5G revolution. So the little guy felt like, hey, here's our time where we're actually able to trade and we're making money, and now we're being prevented from doing that.
Exactly. And by virtue of the fact that Robinhood stopped the little guy from doing that. Yesterday, he'd been, GameStop up about 1,000% in the last month or two. Yesterday, GameStop stock was down 44%. AMC stock was down 56%, which is terrible for a lot of these guys who, we've been reading about how they've gotten together over these chat boards and things like that. Ultimately, in the beginning, was it a case, Kevin, where the little guys got together and said, GameStop is a good stock we can make money on, or we want to screw the Wall Street shorts who are betting against that company?
It was actually a little bit of both, because in the beginning it was really sort of the Reddit guys saying, hey, listen, we know that Wall Street has shorted, meaning they sold the company and tried to drive the price down to the tune of 145% of the shares outstanding, meaning there were more shares sold short than existed. But then also what happened was there was a fundamental change in the business in December.
It's just so ridiculous that Wall Street is able to do this in the first place. And it's not until Reddit got involved that people are like, wait, how does that work? Yeah, they shorted more shares. They bet against more shares that actually existed in the company. And now it's worth more than American Airlines. This is the problem with a faith-based economy.
Were actually the founder of Chewy.com that helped turn around a Petco business, or PetSmart's business online, came on board and bought 12% of the stock. So when he came in and bought a bunch of the stock, Wall Street had to buy the shares back, and then it started lifting. And then people were saying, hey, this is a great stock that we may want to own for a few years. So it was a multiple case scenario.
Yeah. Kevin, there are a lot of people who, because of the pandemic, have been at home.
I don't know if he has a small infant in his arms or something, but there's a toddler somewhere on the mic stream. It's not here, I guarantee. Yeah.
And, they're starting to dabble in stocks, and they downloaded the free app, and so they did that. And some of the professional experts on Wall Street said, these people don't really know what they're doing. But they have been playing by the rules. But then yesterday, Robinhood essentially said, look, we're just trying to protect the investor.
The problem here isn't Robinhood. The problem is the fundamental way in which the stock market operates. That's the issue. We learned very little from derivatives in 2007. That's the issue. But yeah, Robinhood's evil. Is Robinhood doing what they should be doing? No, Robinhood is at fault here. But is there a bigger picture that we're ignoring, that we've ignored for 100 years? Yeah.
Our customers. That's not really true, is it?
Yeah, no, it actually turns out that isn't true, that Robinhood actually itself was not well capitalized to handle and do all this trading. And so that's what they're coming out and saying. Now it's like, hey, we're going to blame the regulators. The regulators make us keep so much amount of money for trades, and we didn't have enough, so we had to prevent it, right? But in the beginning, it felt like Robinhood was saying, listen, you guys don't know what you're doing, so you can't trade these stocks and they're too volatile, and we're trying to protect you. But that doesn't make sense, because how do they know what people are thinking?
Sure. Before you go, for the little guy out there watching, what's a good stock to buy today?
Oh, that's actually a great question. I think people should always buy stocks that they know and use and on the daily basis, right? So they don't need to overthink it. Microsoft is a great one because they do have, the Xbox. So it's another great way if you're using the internet. They've got the cloud. They've got their gaming. So I think Microsoft is a great, nice technology play that people would know and like and serve well in their portfolio.
Well, let's see if you just moved the market. Kevin Kelly, benchmark.
Yeah, everybody. Kevin's right. Get it on Microsoft while it was small.
Investments managing partner. So thank you very much for joining us from Newport Beach, California. Thank you. And then he would say thank you if he wasn't frozen. Meanwhile, Breakfast with Friends is back on the menu, this time with some good old Southern cooking. Our own Will Kane, live in Tennessee, talking in diners.
Okay, we're talking in diners again. This is what news is all about. Here we go. Diner talk.
We are in the studio this morning, but Will Kane is taking the show on the road again to serve up good old Southern cooking with Breakfast with Friends.
Right.
Here we go,
he pushed back on this. He did not want to be there. More on that story as it develops. He is down at Nick and Jay's Cafe in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, Will.
Hey, Brian, I am here at Nick and Jay's in Knoxville, Tennessee. I got my mask on. I'm going to take it off here for just a second. I'm going to talk to some of the diners.
Why?
This is Keith right here.
You don't have to take it off. We could understand you with your mask on through a microphone. With the compression over the internet that your mic is feeding to the studio and then sending over my internet to here and then sending over my internet to everybody watching.
Now, Keith's lived in East Tennessee for quite some time, and you were one of the first diners here at Nick and Jay's when they opened up. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, I was.
And Keith and I were talking about what he thinks important in the country now. What's he focused on, the state of the country? Tell me a little bit what you were saying earlier, Keith.
I think as a country, we just need to get back and be nice. Let's get back and treat everybody with civility and just be nice and say hello to your neighbors. Let's make sure we get people in the government that are going to support us and not out for themselves and fill their pockets.
Yeah, Keith, you were saying you just don't think anybody in government is actually interested in the people in this diner and what's going on.
Absolutely not. I don't think our government is supporting us. I'm a veteran myself.
So here's a whole bunch of people in Tennessee doing their thing in a restaurant, just like you normally would, sitting in there for, I don't know, half hour, an hour, or whatever. Tennessee currently has uncontrolled spread. The positivity rate is 19.1%. Go on down to the restaurant, y'all. The fuck? I got nothing. I got no words for Tennessee. I do have a word. Stop it. It's 2 words. But my brain shuts off in situations like that. 19.1% positivity. The positivity rate is on the way up. What about Tennessee? Tennessee, where'd you go? Hold on. Tennessee's lost people. Tennessee has completely gone off the radar. There it is. They've gone in the last 14 days. The last 14 days in Tennessee, they've gone from 5,000 cases a day to 9.3 thousand cases a day. And they're sitting in a restaurant. What? Why? Pick it up. Go home. Eat at home. Have some bran.
I'm here on the volunteer honor guard here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I see these veterans or even people that can't go to funerals and support them. Why don't our government step up and support us for once?
Yeah, and of course, you guys know.
I wonder what he's asking for. Quite seriously.
We're just shortly into a new administration. Keith and I were talking about what he thinks just in the first week or so of the Biden administration.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to again, not to call names or anything like that, he's not out for us. What he's done in the last week, just taking jobs away from our oil industry. It's going to be, what, another million jobs that he's going to take from that industry.
Okay, but that's not actually what's happening. But he's trying to give you $1.9 trillion in additional aid. You just asked for help from the government. Joe Biden's trying to give you almost $2 trillion worth of assistance. But, okay, all right.
It's going to be a disaster.
All right, so I got the 3-egg breakfast with bacon. They talked me into biscuits and gravy. They said, now's not the day. Today's not the day to be healthy. You're a long.
Yeah, that's funny because it's so true. Now's not the day. Get on back to the diner, dude. Wow.
Time diner here at Nick and Jay's. What do I need to get? What's the special here?
I prefer the Western omelet with biscuits and gravy. Good East Tennessee food.
Okay, so he's concerned about his health, so that's good to see.
Tennessee food. So Brian, Steve, Ainsley, it is starting to fill up.
By the way, he's ahead of me in line for the vaccine.
It normally opens at 7. They opened up a little bit early for us this morning here at Nick and Jay's. Hey, let me talk to you. Let me introduce you to Sue really quick. Sue has lived here in East Tennessee your whole life, Sue?
My whole life. Well, I lived in Miami for about 17 years.
But you...
Parents moved me there when I was in high school.
And Sue and I were talking about what she feels about the country. Tell me where you feel 2021, where are we right now in the United States of America?
We're in a sad situation. I think that the government needs to go differently than it is.
Okay.
And we were talking earlier. Run me your name one more time. Ron Miller. Ron was telling me one of the things he's so worried about is he feels like you were talking about projection. You feel like the American left projects a lot of what they hold dear into other people.
Yeah, well, it's a cover for the criminal acts that they might be committing. So you were asking, well, what's an
You can't go through 3 people in a diner in Tennessee without a QAnon.
example? What they were accusing Trump of, they were doing in Ukraine. My father is actually a Ukrainian descendant, so I'm familiar
Oh, well then he's an expert. Okay, all right, moving on.
with that country and the corruption. And as I mentioned to you before, I've been to
Hold on,
nearly
did you just say
100.
he's an expert?
You were
'Cause
asking,
his-
well,
'cause his
what
father? Also, I can build bridges because my dad is a civil engineer.
It's an example. What they were accusing Trump of, they were doing in Ukraine. My father is actually a Ukrainian descendant, so I'm familiar with that country and the
Oh, okay, so familiar. Okay.
corruption. And as I mentioned to you before, I've been to nearly 100 countries. I've seen what works, what doesn't work, what.
And you were saying it's clear what we're going, the direction we're going now is not
How about letting the guy finish? How about that? He's in the middle of a sentence.
going to work for the future. We'll keep checking in with diners here at Nick and Jay's in Knoxville, Tennessee, letting you know what the people think about the state of the country. Back to you guys.
God.
We'll get some more bacon, too. The bacon looked
And the
fantastic.
sawmill gravy, if it's the white gravy, it's the best with a biscuit.
It is.
She's actually correct. Fox and Friends is correct on that. It is the white gravy that's the best. The sawmill,
It's Friday.
All right, so more on what Will should be eating. And
God damn it, now I want diner food. What do I have? Do I have anything even reminiscent of diner food in the house? Make another salad with gravy.
in just a moment. Meanwhile, straight ahead,
We'd like to
student
be in
athletes and coaches in Washington
I really hope I didn't wake anybody up with the bell. Hold on, I'll yell at them. Go sleeps! There, that'll fix it.
State demand the return of high school sports, and now they're doing something about it. We're going to talk to the athlete behind the push to get
Oh, we don't have any Waffle Houses around here, though.
these kids back on the field.
You know, essentially, though, we joke about salad with gravy. What do you think Thousand Island is? It's a non-meat-based gravy is what it is. And mayo essentially is gravy, just it hasn't hatched yet. It's all cholesterol. All right, Stephanie, you've got the ingredients for gravy? I'm there. Let's see if there's anything else worth covering from Fox and Friends this morning here. Let's jump. Oh, do we have more diner? I want to see more diner. Yes, we got more diner time. I don't know why I love this so much. Hold on. Here we go. More diner, please.
Cafe's people over in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee. I love the people. I love to hear people talk about whatever. Not the people who've been told what to say. Not the people with hard opinions one way or the other. I'd love to see how that trickles down to the mentality of the people we talk to. And I love it. Every once in a while, somebody sneaks in something that actually makes sense. The Wi-Fi password at Lizzie's Diner is bacon.
I think Brian just married you.
What?
Nick and...
Hold on.
What I would like to do with the power vested in me for the moment is go to Will Kane, who's having breakfast.
And I want to rub bacon grease all over his sweaty body. Okay.
With Jay's Cafe's people over in Knoxville,
Producer Joanna, go back to sleep.
Tennessee.
I think Brian just married you.
Nick and Jay's. Ainsley, it is the cream gravy. You were asking about that biscuits and gravy. Look at that.
So
That's I am at Nick and Jay's right here in East Tennessee. I love Knoxville. I love Tennesseans. We have a small difference of opinion on when you say UT, which school are you referencing? Everyone knows it's Texas.
I would be referencing an infection that nobody wants.
I think it's University of Tennessee, but that's our only really big disagreement this morning, guys. I want to tell you two things, though, really quickly if I can. Over breakfast, I've already had a few conversations. Here's two questions that I've heard. Number one, how do you preach unity and then step into office and immediately pass a ton of executive orders unilaterally?
Because you just won the election. Well, how do you pass executive orders unilaterally? That's the only way that you pass executive orders. That's why you pass executive orders. By definition, they are unilateral. How do you do it? By getting shit done. Speaking of shit on a shingle.
How does that work? How do you reconcile those two ideas? And then right down the way here, I was talking to Heath. Now, I think Heath is an interesting example because we talk about restaurants and school.
They go to the diner shot, and I'm out of coffee. The hell? I got hand cream. That's the best I'm going to pretend this is gravy.
Schools and things being closed. He's in oil and gas. He's from Houston. He's a Texan like me. He's been living here for 9 months because oil and gas is shut down in Texas. So now he's working at a nuclear plant here in Tennessee, and he's asking, tell me one thing. How do these executive orders help Americans? How do they help our jobs? Just to bring it back together, the question is, how do you reconcile that with being all about unity? I'll tell you, one thing they're unified, though, on is Nick and Jay's. They love the breakfast here, I'm telling you. Biscuits and gravy, bacon, eggs, coffee. We can all unify around that, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I want you to ask Heath if he would take a job when all these alternatives come, because they say the jobs are here. We've got new jobs for you. Would he be willing to learn how to do solar power?
How about code?
He just switched from oil and gas to nuclear. So within the energy realm, he literally just did that. So I think the answer is yes.
Code?
Or coding?
You want me to ask him real quick?
Yeah.
Let me ask. Hey, hold on real quick. I don't know if you can pan down here. Heath, I want to ask you a quick question.
It wouldn't be panning, it would be zooming, but okay.
This is Heath, the one I'm just telling you about. He's moved from oil and gas to
They're about 1.5 feet apart.
nuclear engineering. If Joe Biden said, listen, we're going to...
So he's moved from oil and gas to nuclear engineering, and they're about to ask him, would you be willing to change your career trajectory?
retrain you. You know, we're going to try to make some adjustments for climate change, but don't worry, we're going to help retrain you into a new job. You get excited about that?
Not at all. Look, I'm 50 years old. You cannot. What are you going to train me? Go build solar panels? I think China's got that covered.
So I think he likes the job that he has right now.
Okay, but he just changed from one job to... I'm 51 years. I'm older than him. Wow. I don't get it. I don't. Why not? Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience, when you get older, learning to code is a lot more difficult, but it's possible.
Guys,
Yeah.
he'd like to keep it. He
That's
can't,
a
even though
concern.
he'd like to be back with his family.
I'd like him to be back with his family working in Texas. And nothing that Joe Biden signed the other day stops him from going back to Texas and working in the gas and oil industry. That's Texas. That's a Republican governor. That's what's actually happening here. Took our gerbs.
Everybody likes the jobs they have, and that's the problem.
It's so insulting when these politicians say, I'm going to go teach you to do something else without even asking you, as if they're our career counselors.
Right.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, come on, everybody. Horse and buggy.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Meanwhile, on this Friday, the White House...
By the way, under Trump, last time I looked, and I haven't looked at final stats on this, but 5,000 jobs lost in the coal industry. 5,000.
Defending President Biden's record...
The diner dude's fine. Whatever his name was, Bruce or Wayne or whatever, Batman. He's all good. Let's zoom ahead here, see if there's anything else we've been covering. Oh, here's a pick your fighter. Choose your fighter. Okay, so here's the number of executive orders in the first 10 days. Bush 1, Clinton 2, Bush 2, Obama 5, Trump 6, and Biden 25. Good. I thought it was 31. He's getting stuff done. By the way, if you got to choose your fighter here, Obama. Hands down. Guy's got some killer moves. His special move is sexy. Let's jump ahead here. Oh, here's the doctor. Are we finally going to talk about vaccines? We're going to talk about... Okay, we're an hour and 22 minutes into Fox and Friends this morning. We're going to cover the pandemic. An hour and 22 minutes. Go.
Who died due to COVID-19 could be up to 50% higher.
Oh, wait, I forgot. The lead story was about attacking Governor Cuomo. So now we're going to actually talk to the Dr. Person, Woman, Man, Camera, TV.
Then the state reported. Let's bring in Fox News medical contributor Dr. Mark Siegel. Dr. Siegel, is it just about the number that stands out to you about this report, or is it something else?
No, it's not just the numbers, Brian, although the numbers really were revealing, and I would have...
So the vaccine?
Things that you just mentioned were put in place there.
Okay, the vaccine?
Father, you couldn't even look at them through a glass.
Still attacking the vaccine. No, we're done. What about the very end?
Hospital has been texting saying, you're not eligible yet, but we're going to keep you informed. That's what we need. Somebody keep everyone up to date, because the computer system here to register is just a nightmare. Dr. Siegel, thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're starting to target people over 75. Absolutely, Brian. Thank you.
I am not there yet. Thank you.
New York's way behind.
Thanks, Dr. Siegel. All right.
I know. There's so many Guptas out there available. No, they did have a Gupta on one of the shows. I even tweeted about it. So all the networks had a Gupta ready to go to. It was a lady Gupta.
Fox News has reached out to Cuomo's office, the governor, of our statement, and we have not heard anything back. I am stunned. Still ahead. A Virginia dad's message to lock...
Why not? Why not Governor Cuomo's office? Why don't the Democrats, other than Pete Buttigieg and Bernie, who's not a Democrat, why don't they go on Fox News? I'll go. Fox News, have me on. I'm not even a Democrat. But at least I'll offer some opposing views and have some facts to back it up. I'll pull it. I'll bring my little tablet with me. I can't find it. But I'll buy another tablet. And I will go on your show. In fact, I don't even need to buy a tablet because I have the studio right here. Have me on. We'll do this. It'll be like, I'll be up taller. You can be over on that side. I'll be on this side. And when I need to show my screen, I'll just show my screen. And I'll say, well, here, this is what the CDC said back in March.
Lockdown leaders, well, it goes viral.
Garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash.
Yeah, we saw that. Something about garbage workers for some reason. Oh, back in the diner. Here we go. What I want to see is I want to see more interviews with the people. I don't want to see him talking. I want to hear the people talking. That's what I want from the diners.
About really that we
would you vote for Trump again?
Have been talking about for months. Or
remember that was CNN and MSNBC after the last election the last general. But in 2017, for like 8 months, it was all, would you vote for Trump again in the diners?
Interconnected. Businesses being shut down while politicians go out to fancy dinners. Elites shutting down.
Literally out at a diner. It's not fancy, but God, it looks good. Hasn't touched his plate, by the way.
The Robinhood trading company, so you can't trade in stocks while the hedge funds can. Yep. And then schools being shut down while private school rich kids can still go to school. It's all connected. There's one set of rules.
here in Los Angeles County, the private school, rich kids can't go to school either.
For most of us. And there's another set of rules for the insiders.
Maybe there's one or two, but I know the local private schools around me, they're not open.
Elites, those with special privileges, and it's proliferating all throughout society, and it's enough to make anyone angry, especially when it applies to our children, as you saw right there.
Pete, what's your experience with your kids?
What about the people? What? He's sitting there in the diner. Talk to the people. Why are we going back to the studio? Hold on. Let's jump ahead here. See if he actually... Why are we going to him? All right, let's see what he has to say.
We've figured out how to do so many other things. We know that unions ultimately are driving so many of these places where underprivileged kids can't go to school. Their power is too big.
Right, and that darn Joe Biden keeps attacking the unions. Make up your mind about the unions, guys. Are you pro-union or are you anti-union?
To what this guy did. Go to the meeting, yell about it, put them on their place and tell them.
When it's union jobs, oh my God, unless it's teachers, who are all part of the union. Screw them. But the oil and gas union guys?
You get paid, but I don't if I don't go to work. Get our kids back in school.
In Chicago, the public schools, because of the unions, are closed. However, in Chicago, the Catholic schools are absolutely wide open. All right, Will, we started this segment 5 years ago. The whole idea is to talk to people, see what they're saying. So stand up and talk to those folks having breakfast.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Well, before I do that, Keith gave me a warning here before I go talk to the people of Tennessee.
Well, be careful when you go talk to Trent. He's like our Norm here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Be careful.
He's telling me be careful here. All right.
Why are we being careful? I like Norm.
Trent, and by the way, Keith's not talking.
I want things to be back to norm.
You up over there. But you were telling me you have two kids, 15 and 12 years old. What do you think about kids and whether or not we should be back to school?
Oh, they absolutely need to be in school. They need the social interaction. They learn better for the most part. I know my kids do. And it's just they need to be in there with their friends to have that.
Now, Trent is a realtor. His buddy Jeff here is a loan officer, so you can see how this relationship works. But you were saying school's important not just for the kids.
It's for the parents. We need them back. I mean, we really do. Our own sanity.
I've actually heard Hegseth say that on the weekend a few times. Please get these kids back in school for me. I need that. Now, this is fascinating. Really quickly, I want to introduce you to Martha. Now, Martha got permission from her principal here to go in a little bit late. So Martha is a teacher. Tell me about teaching and how it's been this year.
We've been in school since August 3rd, in person and virtual if the students wanted. And it's been awesome, really. The students were ready to be back. I teach 8th graders. We haven't had a single student-to-student or teacher-to-student transmission of COVID.
Good.
Our parents were awesome. If somebody in the family was sick, they kept them home. We had a system for if they needed to go into quarantine to keep on. It's been great. Our parents have been great. Our school's been great.
There you have it right there. Martha teaching 8th graders. Almost everyone here in Tennessee is saying their kids are in school 5 days a week. They're getting that needed, not just education.
Right, but you're in a diner with people who have elected to go inside a restaurant during a pandemic where Tennessee has a 19% positivity rate. So you might have a slightly skewed audience there. But that's fantastic news about the lack of transmission in that particular school. That's great news.
Interaction. Whereas Pete pointed out, arbitrarily across the state, my kids have been remote all year long and will be remote through the end of the year.
Wow. We'll thank her for all of us because we've learned one thing or a lot of things throughout all this, but definitely that our teachers are heroes and we need them because they do a lot better than we do.
So let's pass the funding to help the teachers and the schools. Nope. We got to get mad about Biden not allowing new drilling on federal land. That's what we really need to be upset about. That's what... Okay, here we go. We got more coverage of the diner. Hold on. Here we go. He's going to talk to somebody. Here we go. Coming up.
But one thing they do know about is how they feel about the state of the country. We've been talking all morning about how they think schools should be open. They're worried about jobs, very worried about jobs. That's one message I keep hearing over and over and over. Worried about energy jobs, what executive orders passed in the first couple of days of the Biden administration will do to jobs here in East Tennessee and across the country. I'll be checking in all morning, okay? I've had my breakfast, but that gives me time to talk to the diners. I'll let you know what they think about the state of the country a little bit later on the show.
Good deal.
Great.
Thanks so much, Will.
What about...
Let's bring in Missouri Senator Josh.
Hold on. He didn't talk to anybody?
In the world.
What? What was that? What kind of a cut-in was that? I get it if you're leading and it's a bumper. Oh, wait, it's Josh Hawley. Okay, hold on. Here we go. We got Josh Hawley. Are they going to ask him about GameStop? Hold on. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is the meat right here. Everything else has just been gravy, which actually is the best part.
A COVID relief package, a big, bold package. He's not held back or delayed putting forward legislation either. So he's going to use the levers that every president in history has used, executive actions.
Senator, the New York Times editorial board even said ease up on executive action.
Do we need to go back a little bit here? Oh, okay, hold on. We might have... Yeah, he's talking to somebody. We'll get him talking. We'll go right into Josh Hawley. The man who, by the way, attacked the country.
Work on it all weekend.
Listen, the people here in Knoxville, Tennessee...
Okay, are we... I want to see the people.
Right now, thanks.
All right, hold on.
To Dave.
Jump ahead, jump ahead.
They got it down perfectly. The only thing they don't understand in Tennessee is that their orange... Dr. Bob, will you hold up your mask? Their orange is a little bright. Burn it a little bit. Get that burnt orange Texas color, and then they're dialed right in. But one thing they do know about is how they feel about the state of the country. We've been talking all morning about how they think schools should be open. They're worried about jobs, very worried about jobs. That's one message I keep hearing over and over and over. Worried about energy jobs, what executive orders passed in the first couple of days of the Biden administration will do to jobs here in East Tennessee and across the country. I'll be checking in all morning, okay? I've had my breakfast, but that gives me time to talk to the diners. I'll let you know what they think about the state of the country a little bit later on the show.
Good deal.
Great.
Thanks so much, Will.
What? Why? Why do they keep going to him? He's got an audience to pull for.
Let's bring in Missouri Senator Josh.
A poll from.
Hawley. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, y'all have worked for the past 4 years trying to put so many things into place that the Trump voter wanted. And then Joe Biden comes in and signs all these executive orders, more than the last 5 presidents combined. I think he's up to 25. And Trump, Obama, George Bush, Clinton, the most that anyone did was Trump with 6. So here's Joe Biden and Jen Psaki talking about the executive orders, and we'll get your reaction.
I'm about to sign 2 executive orders, and basically the best way to describe them, to undo the damage Trump has done.
Any historian will tell you that he walked into the presidency at one of the most difficult moments in history. That required additional executive action. He has also proposed a COVID relief package, a big, bold package. He's not held back or delayed putting forward legislation either. So he's going to use the levers that every president in history has used, executive actions.
Senator, the New York Times editorial board even said ease up on executive actions, and they called this a flawed substitute for legislation. You were one of the ones that votes on legislation. How do you feel about this?
Oh, it's just an attempt to basically govern the country by executive fiat, and I think it's very, very dangerous. And the nature of it, too, look at what he's doing. These are radical.
Radical. Let's go back and watch what
substitute for legislation. You were one of the ones that votes on legislation. How do you feel about this?
Oh, it's just an attempt to basically govern the country by executive fiat, and I think it's very...
Advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. Radical. Okay.
Very dangerous, and the nature of it, too. Look at what he's doing. These are...
Ensuring a lawful and accurate enumeration and appointment pursuant to the decennial census. So making sure that people are represented by the government. Dangerous. Dangerous.
Radical policies he's pursuing. I mean, killing energy jobs, killing the energy...
Organizing and mobilizing the United States government to provide a unified and effective response to combat COVID-19. Dangerous.
Energy sector in the United States, which is essentially what he's doing. Can you...
Preventing and combating discrimination on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation. Dangerous.
Imagine how many good-paying American jobs...
Ethics commitments. Dangerous.
That's going to cost? I mean...
Restoring or protecting public health and the environment and restoring science to tackle the climate crisis. Nothing but dangerous. Nothing but evil is what it is.
And then you get the radical actions with women.
Protecting the federal workforce. Anarchy.
sports and across the board. I mean, it's breathtaking what he's trying.
Revocation of certain executive orders concerning federal regulation. Revocation of certain executive orders concerning federal regulation. I don't know that that's actually English.
Trying to do on substance. It's breathtaking that he's trying to do it.
Revision of civil immigration enforcement policies. But that's something to talk about. That's something. Let's have a discussion about that. Immigration has changed. And there's been a pause on deportation. Yep, let's figure that out. Let's have a discussion. What works, what doesn't.
Without any democratic debate or legislation.
Ensuring a data-driven response to COVID-19. Dangerous.
And I think it really shows you this is somebody who's got a pretty...
Ensuring an equitable pandemic response and recovery. I'm going to use the same wording. Dangerous. Dangerous.
Far left agenda, and it's somebody who's intent on
establishing the COVID-19 pandemic testing board and ensuring a sustainable public health workforce to COVID-19 and other biological threats. Far left agenda. That's what that is right there.
Imposing it on the country.
Right. You can quickly
improving and expanding access to care and treatments for COVID-19. I'm torn between radical left and dangerous. Why not both?
Do it if you win the presidency in 4 years, but that's the problem with...
I don't know what happened. It skipped ahead or back, or I don't even care.
The New York Times brought out. But I think it's going to get worse. Just when Mitch McConnell got reassurance that the filibuster is not going to get blown up because Joe Manchin and Senator Sinema is going to stand in the way.
Are going to. There's two of them.
They're leaning on reconciliation. And the first case in point will be the $1.9 trillion package full of crap that has nothing to do with the pandemic that they're going to jam down.
It has a lot of stuff in it that has stuff to do with the pandemic. A ton of it.
In our throats with a simple majority. You know that's coming.
Yeah, we don't want that $1,400 check per American. The last thing we need with an economy that lost the most since 1946 is to have a stimulus rescue package. That's the last. Oh, no way.
Yeah, it is coming. It's coming very soon. Could come as early as next week in terms of this reconciliation. And that's just, as you say, Brian, that's just a way to get around the 60-vote threshold in the United States Senate.
Well, it's also legal, and it's what Congress does every single year. I should say the Senate, but Congress in general. But yeah, no, there is one opportunity to do reconciliation every year. This year, they get two. Because last year, the Senate was so screwed up, they never did it.
I don't have any illusions. The Democrats are going to, they're going to use every trick in the playbook, and I think that they will.
It's not a trick. And by the way, tricks are not in the playbook. It's a rule. It's how the Senate works ever since Nixon.
Ultimately try to get rid of the filibuster because they have a radical agenda that they want to jam down the throats of the American.
A radical agenda of doing exactly the same thing the Senate has done every single time since for the last 50 years. Every time.
People. And let's talk about...
Except last year, because anyway. So they get two this year.
About unity for a second. Unity and healing that Joe Biden and the Democrats say we need, that's not what they're giving us. They are attempting to have total control. They're trying to silence opposition. They're trying to silence people like me who stand up and speak out against them. And they're trying to jam down a...
And there you are on the national network. Shameful. I wish he wasn't silenced. I can't hear him at all. Can you guys hear him? I'll pump him up.
Radical agenda, jam through a radical agenda without public support. And
I know. What kind of radical agenda has things like improving access to care for COVID-19? What monsters and dangerous.
I tell you, this is dangerous stuff.
Yeah,
dangerous. Exactly. I just said that, Josh. Stealing my thunder.
Senator, we want to ask you about what's going on with the Robinhood trading app. So just stand by for just a moment because...
Why? Why do we have to ask him about that?
Christina Partsinevelos from our sister network, Fox Business, joins us live with the frenzy over the stock trading. I know they shut things down yesterday, Christina. They're going to try to turn it back on today.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. It's also a rebellion between Wall Street and internet traders, and everybody's watching at this moment. You've got the SEC, you've got the NASDAQ, you've got Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, the New York Attorney General. All are
Thank God they're making her stand outside in the 17-degree weather. Otherwise, I'd be like, what is she talking about? Oh, she's in front of a GameStop. Now I understand.
Paying a close attention to these massive stock swings and trade restrictions. And caught in the middle are companies like GameStop, the company right behind me. Hedge funds bet that shares of GameStop would fall because nobody's really, or I should say not as many people are going into stores to buy video games. Retail traders rallied together on internet forums. They bought shares of GameStop. The stock went up, and Wall Street, especially a lot of these hedge funds, lost big, and many weren't happy. Listen in.
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government.
Oh, she works for Fox Business, so she's not on Fox News.
This fair share is a concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people, and I think it's inappropriate. We all got to work together and pull together.
Just a way of attacking wealthy people.
Yesterday, you had trading apps like Robinhood actually restrict trades, which means that people were not able to buy shares of GameStop and other really volatile companies like AMC and Nokia. Users were so angry that at least 2 filed class action complaints. This is a quote from Robinhood, from one of those complaints. Robinhood, quote, deprived retail investors of the ability to invest in the open market and manipulating the open market. And to add more to that, Facebook today, too, just also blocked a Robinhood stock trading group, and Facebook says it has nothing to do with the ongoing stock frenzy. Right now, Robinhood has lifted a lot of those restrictions, but the volatility on the market right now is incredible for these shares. For these retails and investors, I'll leave it at this. For them, it's less about the company and more about the fight against corporate America and Wall Street. Back to you.
All right, Christina, thank you very much. Let's bring back in the senator. Senator, this has had such a run-up. There's a story out that apparently a little guy took $50,000, which is a lot, but turned it into a reported $23 million because essentially he was betting against Wall Street. But for that one guy that we just showed to say, well, these are people sitting at home getting checks.
He must have invested over and over again, taken the money out, sold it when it was high, then it dropped, put it right back in. Yeah, good for him.
From the government, that's not fair. These are people who are not disruptors. They're simply playing by the rules, but the rules look like the deck is stacked in favor of Wall Street.
Yeah, and of course it is. What we've seen, I think, with this GameStop meltdown that Wall Street is having now is that these folks at home, these day traders, retail investors, they've got more criticism and more scrutiny than the people who single-handedly crashed the entire financial market in 2008 and then got bailed out.
Well, they didn't single-handedly crash anything, Josh. There were thousands of them.
Never then bailed out all of those people. I mean, it's really, it
they were
shows
too big to fail.
Josh is just a fucking moron.
Is in. Too big to fail.
No, he's not a moron. He's actually bright enough to be dangerous.
Exactly right. And now, the big hedge funds, they don't want any real competition. They're fine if these day traders do as they're told, do what they're supposed to do. But when they get ideas of their own and they bet against Wall Street, well, my gosh, then they're a threat. Then they need to be shut down. I just think this shows you that just like we've got this concentration of power in so many industries, the tech companies, on Wall Street too, the big banks, the big hedge funds, they don't want the competition. They want to be in control.
We're seeing the component of revenge back on Wall Street. We're also seeing pushback when it comes to schools. The dad at the school board meeting who said, I want you to open my schools. You're seeing pushback also in California.
He's in front of a green screen. Did you guys see that? Watch behind Josh Hawley.
They don't want the competition. They want to be in control.
We're seeing the component of revenge back on Wall Street. We're also seeing pushback when it comes to schools. The dad at the school board meeting who said, I want you to open my schools. You're seeing pushback also in California.
What? Why? Unless there was a sudden solar eclipse behind him, why wouldn't he be in front of a window somewhere? Where is he?
California, because you've got all these schools that they're going to change the name in San Francisco to cancel Abe Lincoln and George Washington, among others.
I mean, that's not terribly unusual, but just weird. Why would they do that?
And now there's a petition. Thousands have signed this online petition to say we do not want those names canceled. What's your reaction?
Yeah, I saw that. I think that's tremendous. I mean, it's people, just everyday people finally saying this is going too far. This cancel culture mania on the left is going too far.
Oh, I see. The color is really off behind him as well.
Abe Lincoln, George Washington, these people are heroes. It's important to rally around our history. This is what unites us as Americans. I'll just tell you from my perspective in Washington, seeing what the left woke mob is trying to do, silence opposition, silence dissent. They're trying to do it all over the country.
Nobody knows better than you, Senator.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. But you know what? Just like these folks in California, in my state of Missouri, people standing up and saying, we won't be silenced. I'm not going to be silenced. I'm not going to bow down to the woke mob. I'm not.
You haven't been silenced. Right now, you're being interviewed for an extended segment, by the way. We've been doing this for a while.
Going to do what they tell me.
He's got an Atari background. I was going to say Commodore 64. It's a little bit more advanced than the Atari system.
To do.
Maybe the 5200.
But when they threaten me, I'm not going to give in to them. And I just think you're seeing the same from Americans across the country.
Absolutely. Senator Josh Hawley standing strong. Appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. Meanwhile, Jillian's upstairs to tell us.
Standing strong. Let's see if we got one more diner segment, and then we'll wrap it up here. Are we going back to the diner? We're going. Yeah, we're going. And it looks like he might. Yeah, he's going to talk to people. Good. Let's hear from the people. And one guy looks like he's got a mask on. Yes. Things are getting better, people. Things are going to change. I can feel it.
Talking to you.
I'm trying to tease your segment. Go ahead, Till. What's up over there?
I'll take it. I got it. I'm at Nick and Jay's, as you said, in Knoxville, Tennessee, East Tennessee, near and dear to my heart. And this is, by the way, the owners of Nick and Jay's. First of all, Nick and Jay's is named after their son.
Okay, so they're wearing masks. Good for them. At least on camera. I hope they're wearing them all the time. The people behind the counter are wearing masks. The customers not wearing masks, but they're eating. So.
Najwan and Linda's sons, Nick and Jay. Here it is. This is Jordan, so one of the two namesakes of the restaurant. Najwan, tell me what you were talking about earlier about business, what it's been like over the past year.
It's, just like everywhere else in the country. It's, just...
We don't want to hold the mic to him? Is he mic'd? Why?
Small businesses are struggling right now. If I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere where almost 200,000 small businesses have closed since March of last year. And it's tough for everybody, not necessarily just all the restaurants, but just small businesses in general. We've had it tough. Everybody has. We just got to keep going. We've been blessed, but hopefully it's going to turn around soon and get better for everybody.
We were talking about this earlier. This year, obviously, everyone knows it's been so much upheaval, so much eye-opening. Jordan, who's 19, was saying he's never been that political, but Jordan, you were saying, this past year, watching as things get shut down just kind of opened your eyes to so much.
Yes, it has. When everything got shut down, I just got more into the political view, just reading on both of the sides of what they're trying to do to help the economy and the country, and just everything that's happened. I just got more into it. They wanted me to get into it, so
can I say
got me more involved.
Najwan, you were saying the community stepped up. That's what's helped you stick through.
We're so blessed.
It's humbling how much they stepped up.
Yes, when we had to shut down for about 8 weeks, the customers are just stepped up like you would not believe. They were coming in and getting orders and leaving $30, $40 extra tips to spread between all the employees.
Wow.
That's the story of America, these pastor community. Can I just share one story with you? So I lived here in East Tennessee for about 5 months through the pandemic. I experienced the community of East Tennessee. This is my community. This is Dr. Bob Harrelson. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He's 82 years old. Every night, along with Leanne Tolsma here, we all met at a bridge over a river in East Tennessee and just came together as a community. And Dr. Bob, tell me what you were saying about what you think about the country and what you're worried about.
Well, I'm worried about the future of the country. We're supposed to be talking to our friends who disagree with us politically and then come to the middle. The problem is they're messing up my country. That I can't stand. We've been told by our forefathers, especially Jefferson, that once the masses realize that they can vote favors for themselves, democracy's over. And I'm afraid we've reached the tipping point.
That's a message I've heard loud and clear. Two big messages this morning, guys. Jobs, worried about the first couple weeks of this administration, its impact on jobs, and the long-term future of this country, the philosophical direction we take going forward. That's what I've heard this morning from Nick and Jay's in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'll take it back to you guys in the Big Apple.
Great job. And now you've answered.
Okay, I like that. He talked to actual people, and I like it when they talk to the actual people. Wait, is that really Judge Denina's on this morning? Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna stick with this, guys. Hold on. Go ahead and play.
I think
Her mother-in-law, father-in-law in a nursing home. She can't get in touch with them. Not only can't she get in touch with them, then she finds out that they've passed.
I can't do Judge Judy this morning. It's been an hour and a half, kids. I think that's a long enough program for this morning. You've been watching Facts and Friends. I am your Heavenly Father. If you'd like to contribute, please do. You can send some money to this PayPal right here. You can also go to kevinlyfather.com and become a patron. And give me $1 a month. Be part of the Dollar Shame Club. We'd appreciate that. Or set whatever level you want to. I don't know that you can do that, but what the hell. So, guys, it's been a pleasure. I will see you probably later in the day. I understand there's a press conference going on right now. There's one every day now. So if something happens that I feel like covering, we'll break in. Or not. I'm going to go to a diner, get myself some gravy. I have some bacon. I do have some bacon, so maybe I'll go make myself some eggs and bacon or something. Whatever, we'll see what happens. Everybody be good, wear your masks. Don't go to a diner. Just give it a little more time. By the way, we have another vaccine approved. And as far as I could tell, I skimmed through a lot of it, but 3 hours, I didn't see anything talking about the new vaccine. But it's not approved. I'm sorry, I misspoke. We have the press release from Johnson & Johnson saying that the vaccine is X% effective against moderate or severe disease. Very good news. But we don't cover good news. We cover about how Jefferson said that if the masses are there, then the country is gone. They want us to come together and talk to the other side. But Jefferson, by the way, just about all the time that I see a Jefferson quote, it's not a Jefferson quote, especially if it involves the word tyranny. It's ridiculous. I made my own Jefferson quote the other day, but I don't have it on this computer. So you guys be good. We will talk to you later, and maybe later on today. Maybe not. I don't know. It's raining here today, so I'm not going anywhere except to the diner. There, are we back? Yeah, we're back. Okay. Movie night is the question. Yeah, we'll probably do movie night tonight. So, if I can make it work, we'll watch Next Stop Wonderland. If you have other suggestions for a movie night tonight, something else going on, let me know. And we'll do a Zoom movie night tonight. And if you want in on the Zoom movie and you're not a patron, then shoot me a DM or leave a message for me on Twitter, and hopefully I see it. So, I just turned the studio lights off already. And it's not so bad. I look weird, but yeah, let's do a movie night tonight. So tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what time that is in Hawaii, and Christmas morning in Australia. We'll do a movie night. So I'm thinking Next Stop Wonderland because no one has seen that except me, and it is a fantastic movie. Maybe The Baxter. Maybe we'll watch The Baxter. If you got suggestions, a movie that you really want to see and watch with other people, let me know. We'll do it tonight. If you're on Patreon, we'll do it. And yeah, that's all. Okay, that's the end of that. Good night. I already did the credits, so we're not doing the credits again. We're just going to say goodbye. Goodbye.